Can you hear that? In other words, Mama used to say, "Take your time, young man." You know what I mean? You too young for them boys. You ain't ready, man. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe. I'm gonna go ahead and go through this real quick, man, because I know we got to go ahead and talk this boxing talk. When we talk this boxing talk, let's go ahead and I'm gonna try to keep my information down so we can get through these topics. There's a lot of boxing coming up. It's a fight to go ahead and review of what happened yesterday, and then also we got 3 fights coming up next week. And Bill, I hear that you're gonna be out there in Norfolk to check out Keyshawn, but we'll get to that in 1 second. I want to go ahead and do my quick 3 the hard way, and then we'll get to these boxing topics. So my 3 the hard way is this week is Kamala was on SNL. I was thinking, I said, man, that was real charming right there. That's the first time I'm seeing Kamala do something that is personable. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, she's taking the fact that they making fun of her and stuff like that, and then she got on there with that comedian. I thought that was cool until I found out that was the same bit that Trump did when he was on there, when he hosted this show. I'm like, man, come on, can you do something original, man? But anyway, I still thought it was cool. Trump also was in that dump, you know what I'm saying, in a garbage truck this week. I thought that was pretty hilarious, man, to make fun of what Joe Biden had said. So he gets him a truck that had Trump on there, and then he was talking about what he plans to do for the future, but he was doing it in that little outfit that he had on. Then he had a rally, and he still had the little thing on. Last but not least, 3 the hard way, man. I talked to you about this yesterday, Bill. Some politicians back in the day who we used to look at as being buffoons and things like that, who was candidates who weren't capable of leading the country or being a VP or president and things like that. I think that some of these people are turning over. I know that they're not passed away just yet, but they looking at this like, man, y'all used to say I'm incompetent. Like I looked at my girl Sarah Palin yesterday, and I'm listening to her with Katie Couric. That's what got her up out of there. Like they got her out of there after that interview that she did. At the time, it sounded bad in relations to the other candidates who were out and the way she used to speak, oh, I'm from Alaska, and so people made fun of her. And like I said, they got her up out of there. It's, Tina Fey, who used to do a really good job over making it seem like she was an airhead. But I'm listening to her interviews and her speeches. She actually answering questions. You may not agree with what she's saying, but for the most part, 9 times out of 10, it was something that it made sense. It's just like, no, you going too far or whatever. But people don't even answer questions nowadays. Well, that's my 3 the hard way. I'm going to go ahead and Kamala, stop them word sellers, man. You might have a chance on Tuesday. All right, make sure you hit the like, subscribe button. Also, hit that donation. You see the M-Town wheel here. Greatly appreciate it. What they say, what's the best nation? The best nation is a donation. So make sure you hit that Cash App and go ahead and, contribute to the machine, all right? That's my girl Dada. You understand what I'm saying? Let me go ahead and keep it moving and grooving because we got to get to these topics for today. Recap. Yesterday, you had O'Shaquie Foster in a very close fight. I thought this fight probably was closer than the first fight. Probably could have went the other way if any of the fights was going to go the other way. But anyway, Robson Gassasiao, he defeated him in the rematch. Split decision victory going into the fight according to Bovada Sportsbook. You have Foster, who was going into it as a 41 favorite. What did you think, Vale? And then we'll hear from you as well, Sheldon. What did you think about the performance yesterday? Did they get did the right guy win?
I feel like the right guy won, but I feel like that he probably should have won the first fight. I thought it was interesting because you can't say he did worse. In his game, he stepped his game up a little bit, but also Gassasiao did a little bit better too. It was a little bit more combinations being thrown in their second fight, and it was a little bit closer. I think where Ashaki won it was I think it was certain times in that fight. Like I think it was the 5th round where he kind of they tried the commentators were trying to clean it up, but it looked like he hurt Gassasiao, and Gassasiao ducked a little bit. And then in the 10th round, Foster caught Gassasiao with a counter punch, and Gassasiao was kind of buckling a little bit, and he was obviously hurt and tired and all that. And I think Foster couldn't really get him out of there. But as far as I thought it was a more active fight. It wasn't like there was like a much better fight than the last time, but I think it was more active. Both guys seemed like there was a sense of urgency a little bit, and they stepped their game up. And I feel like they're so evenly matched too, where I feel like it's nothing that I think that Foster is going to do that's going to separate himself too much from Gassasiao unless Gassasiao just gets old. and vice versa. It's not too much that Conceição is going to do to separate himself. And that's kind of why I don't really not sure I want to see a third fight anytime soon. They might fight a third time, but I'd rather see them, each fight, one of the Valdez or even Navarrete, whoever wins or loses. I would rather see those fights than see them fight again and waste more time on this when Foster probably should have won it the first time and moved on. So, but it was good to see Foster get his hand raised. I was kind of nervous at the end. I thought he was going to lose. I thought they were going to take it away from him, and I think that would be even though this was a closer fight, it still would have been bad if they would have did that a second time. So, shout out to O'Shaquie Foster.
Thank you, sir. What about you, sir? What you think, man? What did you see in the fight?
O'Shaquie did more this time. He put his punches together better. He moved better. He stayed in the pocket more. He landed the cleaner, more effective shots. Mm-hmm. Conceição fights the same way. He's a pot shotter. He likes to sit back, counter, pot shot. He doesn't let his hands go as much as he should. But he's an older man. He's 35, so I understand that. But O'Shaquie outworked him. He beat him. It was good for O'Shaquie because I thought O'Shaquie won the first fight, but it went the way it went. But it was a good competitive fight, better than I thought it was going to be. But like Val said, I probably would like to see both of them move on. I don't want to see them fight again. But we all know that Conceição wants that rematch.
Yes, sir. I want to welcome my man on here, and that's going to be Ty the Legend from In His Corner. Ty, how we doing, man? I know that, two of your people, man, met their untimely demise this week. So, again, I feel for you on that. I feel for them and their families. But how you holding up, my guy?
Man, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Yeah, yeah, man. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Big Zo. Rest in peace to Scotty, man. The guys were, Zo came through on the show. Did an interview. Scotty, he loved the show, man. He loved what y'all do. Always spoke highly of you. So rest in peace to those guys. And prayers up to the families, man.
Yes,
and the loved ones. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I know it's a tough segue, to talk boxing and things of that nature. But did you watch the fight yesterday? And what were your thoughts?
Yes, sir. Me personally, I gave it to Conceição. I just felt that, if I know everybody felt that, Foster was robbed in the first one, but to me, it was a good fight between both guys, but I just felt that Foster was just throwing a lot of 1-2s, just a lot of, 1-2s, just throwing one shot at a time. And, so they were both throwing their shots and then tying up, clinching. So, I mean, it was a good fight, but I just felt that, this time around, that Foster didn't really, he didn't win it. And, and then he had Rosen hurt. I don't know what round it was. I think it was like round 10, and he didn't really take advantage and capitalize on it. So, but it was a good fight. Roseman, he's real unorthodox, with his movement. So he's a tricky fighter. But I just felt that Conceição, he edged it out. That's just my thoughts.
Yeah, it was interesting because the first fight, according to Bovada Sportsbook, they had Foster. He was like a 2-1 favorite, and then going into this fight, he was a 4-1 favorite, as you see there on the screen. What I saw and what I noticed was that I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm not gonna be over here capping. Like I sat up in here and I was waiting to see dang on O'Shaquie Foster and Ropes and Conceição in the main event. It's certainly something that I wasn't really necessarily trying to see, especially not in the main event. To me, this is a fight right here. If all is well, you got a good main event, and then this fight right here is setting up the main event. To me, you know what I mean? But I saw the highlights. But I saw in the highlights, I saw a lot of right hands that O'Shaquie Foster was eating. You can't really gauge everything. You can't see each round by round. But that's the thing that I don't like about him is that I think he needs to clean up some of that stuff where he's not being – because Conceição had power, he would have been in trouble. Based on the highlights of what I've seen, it looked close. You know what I mean? And just the way the commentators were talking, it seemed like Foster, won the fight. But just what they were showing – I'm like, man, that was a pretty good fight, you know what I mean, in comparison to what I saw in the first fight. Because the first fight, it was a lot of lulls in there where it could have went either way. if Foster would have just put his foot on the gas just a little bit more, then he would have made it more definitive that he won the fight. But again, based on how they fight, I wasn't necessarily interested in seeing a whole 36 minutes. So I can't really say. I thought it was a good fight to see as far as highlights and whatnot. But I could tell, the main thing that I could tell was that Foster, he may not run into that, though, because if he's going to be fighting at 130, they're fighting at 130, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if they're fighting at 130, he may not run into that fighter who's going to be hitting him that hard, because he's going to be open. He doesn't have it where he moves with shots that good, or he's like that defensively aware where he's not going to be getting hit at certain times with flush shots. It's just Chukhadzhian is just not a big puncher. Moving forward, I'm kind of like you guys. I didn't want to see this one, so why would I want to see another one? But what Foster wants is he wants the Navarrete Valdez winner, and I wouldn't be opposed to that. I like those style matchups more so than I like the style matchup with him and Chukhadzhian. What say you, fellas? Do you want to see let's say Navarrete successful against Valdez? Well, you want to see that Navarrete versus Oshaki fight?
Yeah, I think it's a better style matchup because I don't think neither Navarrete or Valdez is going to be. They have their own tricks, but they're not going to be tricky fighter. They're not going to be grabbing onto to Foster, and they won't do all that slick stuff. I mean, they're probably going to, not saying that Foster will win those fights, but they're going to play more to it. They'll give Foster more of an opportunity to utilize his strengths for good or bad, and his weaknesses.
Yeah, I would definitely want to see him against either one of those guys, because his style is more conducive to a good fight. Navarrete, in my opinion, really doesn't have a style. He just goes out there and wings it. And Oscar Valdez, good, bad, or indifferent, Oscar Valdez is going to show up to fight. And you know that. So, yeah, I would love to see either one of those fights.
What about you, Legend? What you want to see Oshaki against one of those guys?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that. And to be honest, man, I wouldn't even mind seeing the trilogy between these two guys, because, they're saying, Foster really, he really, he won this time around. He won the first one, but, now he got his redemption. But to me, like I said, I felt that, Chukhadzhian won, and, I said I would settle for, a trilogy. But I think that Foster wants to move on, He felt he was robbed in the first fight. He got a title this time around. So, but yeah, I don't have no problem with either one of those fights. I think it's a good fight.
If you want to see a third fight between them, all you got to do is watch the first two fights. It's going to be the same thing. Like, it'll be the same fight over and over. You know what I mean? Let's go ahead and move on to these predictions, good fellas. We got three big ones coming up next week. Like I say, Vail, he's going to be over there in Norfolk. So any supporters who want to go holler at Vail, he's going to be down there. You know what I mean?
People like, man, I heard you said something. Like, no, that wasn't me.
Man, they know that you mild mannered, man. You don't be doing all that. All right, so now next week we're gonna start off with the fight card that's in Philly. If you're out that way, I'm sure you're gonna get you a nice cheesesteak and whatnot. But you got Kareem versus Boots, and you got Bam versus Guevara. We'll start off with the Boots fight, and so going into this fight, Boots is a 16-1 odds favorite according to Bovada Sportsbook, and I don't know. You might want to put a little money out there, a little wager. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but Boosie's coming into this fight 32-0, 29 knockouts, 5'10". Nice size frame for a welterweight. Looks like he's a junior middleweight at times. 74-inch reach. Like I said, fights out of Philly, the city of brotherly love, or what they call it, Philadelphia pistol van. That's what some people call it. 27 years of age. You got the 90% knockout ratio, one of the highest knockout ratios in boxing. He's coming off the fight that he had against not Villa. He fought Abanesian last, and he got, I think, a 5th round TKO victory because he didn't His opponent didn't come out for the 6th round. You got Kareem, who's 24-2 with 13 KOs. Not much of a puncher. Solid size welterweight as well. A little bit shorter than Boots at 5'9". He's one of them Ukrainian fighters. 28 years of age. He's in his prime. From Kiev. He's coming off a 9th round TKO victory over Pietro Rossetti. And he also has a 2nd round TKO victory that he got in what is that? April. So yeah, he's 2-0 since the Boots fight, right? So let's talk it out, fellas. What do you think is going to happen? Is Boots going to get him out of there this time, or is Boots going to is this going to be like the Conceição versus Foster, where it's going to be pretty much the same fight again?
No, I don't think it's gonna be like that. And let's be real. Even though Karen did a good job of seeing the final bell in the last fight, the first fight with them two, it wasn't like he was just winning rounds. So it's not, so I would say I don't see why the odds would be any different, because it wasn't like he might have been giving Boots trouble in spots, but it wasn't like he's just winning rounds on Boots and making it a close fight. So I think for Boots, people have been commenting on that fight when it comes to Boots. So I think Boots' team heard that, and I think Boots is gonna go out there aggressive, even more aggressive, and I think his goal is gonna be try to get Karen out of there in 6. I hear
what you're saying, Bill. If I can I'm gonna push back just a little bit. The reason why I'm pushing back, I remember back in the day when you had Villanova, they won the national championship on April 1st, 1985. That particular year, they beat the Georgetown Hoyas, who were number 1. I want to say they played them like 3 or 4 times that year. The first time they played, they got blew out. Second time they played, it was a little bit closer. Then they played them in like the Big East, tournament or whatever, and it got closer. And then they ultimately beat them. Now, this is not a 4-fight ordeal, but what one can surmise is that some of the things you saying that Boots might go for the knockout. When you look at Boots technically, I want you to go back and watch him and see some of the flaws that he has as far as his footwork, him setting up shots. Sometimes he's off balance a lot. And to me, Kieran has a lot of things, if he's capable of doing it, that he can take advantage of if Boots didn't fix some of those problems that he had going into that fight. That fight to me was more so Kieran just wasn't prepared to take advantage of some of the flaws that Boots had. Like once you look at the film, and it's like, and he was winging some shots that he was just missing Boots with. And so to me, he has more, unless Bozy and those guys work on those things and they know how to correct those things. But Boots has been doing that stuff a lot. It's just the level of opposition that he's facing. He can get away with it. To me, if Kieran has it in him, has the capabilities to be able to take advantage of those things, this could be a closer fight. You know what I mean? So that's all I want to throw out.
Yeah, I can see that, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think Bozy and them guys, they went to the table, and because the way people have been treating, and I'm not saying everybody, but the way some are talking about Boots, they're saying that like a guy that he beat exposed them. So it's almost like he got away with a gift. So I feel like he's going to come back harder. He's going to fight harder. He's going to try to get Karen out of there in 6th round. It might not happen in 6. I would say 8th round. I say he Karen quits on Stu.
You might be right. I'm gonna let you go ahead, cook, Shelton. But I'm starting, when I look at film of Boots, I'm getting less and less impressed at what it is I see. But I'm gonna let you cook, Shelton.
Well, here's my take. Boots won that fight convincingly, the first fight, but Karen did some things that exposed the fact that Boots has not truly learned how to cut the ring. He had Boots in there spinning like a top, missing shots. Boots looked a little amateurish in that fight. if I want to say. So if Boots hasn't addressed those issues and learned how to cut the ring off, you'll probably get the same fight you got with Boots winning damn near every round, but not getting Karen out of it. You know, and people love Boots. I love Boots. And Boots looks great. He looks great against the guys he's been facing. This guy, his whole game, his style is predicated on movement. He likes to move. Boots needs you, from what I've seen of Boots, Boots needs somebody who's going to stand in front of him and let him well. And he can flash and dash and do all that stuff he does because the dude don't really have no movement. Lipinets doesn't really have no movement. Delorme didn't really have no movement. Villa definitely don't have no movement. He looks great against guys that stand in front of him. If he hasn't addressed the issue and learned how to cut the ring off, you'll probably get the same fight that you got before. I got Boots winning. I got Boots winning defensively, but I don't know if Boots is going to knock this guy out because this guy's not going to stand in front of him.
Yeah, my thoughts on this, you know, I think Boots makes a statement this time around. You know, it's in his hometown. He is a champion, so I think he's going to try to put on an impressive performance. You know, the first fight, like, you know, as Shelton was saying, you know, the Karen guy, he was just using his footwork on his bicycle, staying away from Boots. But, you know, he's fighting for a title. So, you know, you can't get a title if you're just going to be on your bicycle. You're going to have to go in there and try to make a statement, you know, to take the title off this guy. So I think that Karen's going to come in with a different game plan, trying to throw some shots. But, you know, if he throws shots and standing there with Boots, that's when it's going to be trouble for him. So I think Boots definitely makes a statement and gets Karen out of there, I'll say, in the mid-rounds.
Yeah, my prediction, I'm gonna put $20 on Karen and see where how far that take me. You know,
You're gonna lose that $20.
I'm gonna put 20 on Karen, man. Like I said, the more I'm seeing Boots, man, either because it's, to me, he's so, what I saw of him initially, I'm like, man, go ahead, start calling out some of these dudes, start taking some of these dudes out. Or at least put pressure on him. But he's so comfortable and content with this type of fight. Like, he's still fighting these type of dudes. And by now, you should have had, like, Stanionis or somebody, brother. Like, come on. And that last fight, like I said, I had this opportunity to look and see at some of those flaws that he has. And Boots, I'm going to tell you, man, he's 29-0 with 26 KOs. I'm not so certain Boots hits that hard, man. He was hitting Karen. It's just he was fighting a welterweight. And Karen, like you said, the other thing is the big thing is what Shelton was referring to as far as his ability to cut off the ring. If you are there and he runs you into something, then it's going to look nice. It's going to look devastating. But outside of him just hitting you, I don't see him doing stuff to guys when he just hits them and they not coming in, you know, with the punch as well. So I think this could be a close fight, man. You know, like I said, I'm gonna put 20 on Karen. If I had to like predict, I'll say Boots. I'd say 12-round decision. It's probably be a repeat of the other fight. He might have some more success, might be able to drop dude or whatever. Because I think the guy might put himself in a situation where he's more vulnerable because he's trying to take advantage of what it is I see as far as the footwork and things that Boots puts himself in certain predicaments. But I'm going to go 12-round unanimous decision, one of those Eddie Hearn specials. You understand what I'm saying? Also, next week on the undercard, you got Bam Rodriguez. You know, if you put some money down on his opponent, Guevara, you know, you'll get, it's 7-1 according to Bovada Sportsbook. Bam is the favorite. What do you know anything about Guevara? And also, if you do, you know, what do you think? Let me start off with you again, Phil.
I don't know a lot, but from what I've seen, I did see him against Andrew Maloney fight. Now I'm like, I mean, Andrew Maloney is not. To me, I've always felt like the Maloney brothers in general are kind of overhyped, you know. So beating them doesn't mean like it doesn't even, unless you're just wiping them out. It doesn't really state what you're going to do against someone like a Bam Rodriguez. So while this is a 7-1, I think this one should be a kind of a 16-1. And that's no disrespect to Guevara. I think that's more a testament to how highly I think of Bam Rodriguez. You know, this is like a person that has potential to be top 3 pound for pound. And I see that more as proof with him than I do with someone like Boots, who hasn't really fought those competitions to prove that. I think Bam could really be that guy, you know. So Guevara, I mean, he's a tough guy, but he's hittable. Sometimes he has his hands down. He can counter, which is interesting. He's like I think he fights a Mexican style, but he has shown the ability to counter punch, which could assist him. But I think Bam is just a master boxer to me. You know, he can put it all together, and I'm not sure he's going to stop Guevara, but I think he's going to. I think Rivera is definitely going to feel his power. So I would say I have Bam winning a decision over Rivera.
Hmm.
Who is this guy? Guevara? Who is this guy? Who is this guy?
Let me introduce you to him then. So we got Bam, who's 20-0 with 13 KOs. We know who Bam is, southpaw, 5'4" out of San Antonio, 67-inch reach. He is coming off the Juan Francisco Estrada fight where he won impressive victory. He got dropped, got up, finished off his foe in 7. He was up 58-54. One card was even, and then the other card he was down. So that was a close fight according to the cards, but I don't think that it was that close, to be honest with you. Only gave Estrada the 4th, or whatever round that was when he dropped. It might have been the 5th. Guevara, he is 42-4 with 22 KOs. I think he can pop. He got a little bit more pop than his record would indicate. 5'4", 67-inch reach. He's out of Mexico. Like you say, he's coming off the Maloney victory. It was a split decision victory. He also, his last loss was against Carlos Cuadras. I think that's the fight that I saw. I was kind of impressed with what I was seeing with him in that fight, although he lost. It was a split decision victory for Carlos Cuadras. Prior to that, he was on a long winning streak too. So the guy has some skills, man. He's pretty good and he's durable. You know what I mean? So he hasn't, been. I want to say he hasn't been down in the fight, to be honest with you. So that's who he is, sir. Now I get my because I don't want to make sure. I want to make sure we have laws so we can put this on YouTube. So with that being said, in this fight, I'm going to go with a knockout victory for Bam, about 8th, 9th round. So I'm going to say 8th round. The reason why I say that is because Guevara can be hit, and I think Bam right now is punching about as hard as he ever has, throughout his career. I think he's getting his man strength and whatnot, and he's a mean little son of a gun sometimes too when he gets guys hit. Once he gets that beat on you, and I think that he'll be able to figure things out. Now he has to be careful because, like I say, Guevara can pop. Like he does have some punching power, but I would think that the guy who I have like top 7, top 8 pound for pound is going to figure things out. He's going to get adjusted. And it's going to be interesting to see Bam out on the East Coast because normally it's over on the West Coast where he fights in San Antonio. So it'll be a good thing for him, for the fans to be able to see that type of talent, and he can get more of a backing moving forward because I anticipate this guy, sky's the limit. If he's able to get that Chocolatito fight, then he's going to become, I wouldn't necessarily say a household name, but he's going to be going in that direction, especially for a smaller weight fighter. So again, what say you, Sheldon?
Well, Chocolatito fight. I mean, Chocolatito's what, 36, 37, 38?
That's still Chocolatito. That's a name right there.
Yeah, it's still Chocolatito. This is his name. Exactly. It's a name fight. So he beats an old Chocolatito down, put him in another stratosphere. I get that. But this guy, 42-4-1, and has basically fought no one. Bam should, if his talent is what they say it is, he should get this guy out of here anywhere between 7 and 8. Like you said, the guy does have a little pop. So Bam got to be careful in the early rounds because that's when the guy's strong. If he can get past the 4th, 5th round, let this guy get tired a little bit, and then start working on him because Bam does have excellent footwork, excellent angles, and Bam can punch. Contrary to popular belief, Bam can punch. So I like the fight. I just think Bam is going to outclass this guy as it gets later probably stop him anywhere between 8 and 11.
Yeah, I'll probably go with Bam. I don't know too much about Guevara, but they said he does got a lot of experience, over 40-something fights. So, definitely got a lot of experience on his belt as a pro. But Bam, he's a champ. You know what I mean? He's a champ for a reason. And I think he wants to make a statement. So I think I'll go with Bam by decision.
See, that's the thing. When you say, he wants to make a statement with Bam, I don't know if that's necessarily, his goal going into the fight. I'm sure he's just one of those dudes. You know what I'm saying? He's just, to me, that dude. He has the technique. He has certain special things that he does. The difference between him and Boots. Boots has certain gifts that can get you in trouble, where he's not doing things fundamentally correctly, and he may leave himself open, or he may run into something. Bam is different. It's like technically he's very sound at what he does, and to me that's a little bit in the best interest of a fighter who is seeking out. Like I want you. Like I'm motivated, and I want to go ahead and put on a show, a statement, and I'm showing you that the class levels different than I am in any opponent that I'm facing. Like you more likely to see somebody pull that off as opposed to somebody who's still working on their technical deficiencies. And so, like I said, I just think this dude right here, he's 24 years of age, still a baby. You know what I mean? Just imagine him 2-3 years from now, the type of stuff that he's going to be doing to these dudes. So shout out to Bam. Shout out to Guevara. I wish I had an opportunity to go to both of the fights, because that Friday, November 8th, at the Scope, where my guy, Sweet Pea Whitaker, used to put in that work. You got Keyshawn Davis, who's a 6-1 favorite according to Bovada Sportsbook. He's going to go against Gustavo Lemos. It's going to be an interesting fight. I'll go ahead and get the particulars. You got Keyshawn, who's 11-0, like a little baby on this picture. 7 KOs. They call him a businessman. 25 years of age. Nice, tall, lightweight. 70-inch reach, and he's going to be fighting at home in Norfolk. He's coming off the Maduno fight where he won a 10-round unanimous decision. That's another fight where some people were saying that it was a kind of a poor performance, even though he almost won all of the rounds. And then also had the Pedraza fight, who was a little longer too, fighting at lightweight for the first time in like 4 or 5 years. So he's coming off those victories. Gustavo Lemos, he's 29-1 with 19 KOs. Many people believe he should be 30-0 with 19 KOs because of his last fight. I'll get to that in a second. They call him El Electrico. That's a tongue twister right there. 28 years of age, 5'5.5", short little guy from Buenos Aires. He's coming off the controversial loss to Richardson Hitchens. There was a unanimous decision loss. So I don't know that 111-117 is ridiculous. Tim Cheatham, he needs to be up out of here. You know what I'm saying? As far as his license to be a judge, they need to have him. I don't know. Cheatham, you wrong for that, brother. But then it was 113-115 with the other judges, which is more along the lines of what most people saw. I just thought it was 115-113. Lemos, in my eyes, based on what I saw. Also, he had several knockout victories that he had going into that fight. He was on a pretty long, lengthy layoff going into that Hitchens fight. Now he should be fine-tuned. So what say you, fellas, man? You got a guy who, he's going to be chomping at the bit to get at his next opponent based on what happened to him last time. And then you got a very confident Keyshawn Davis who thinks that he's the best of the best. So, Vail, we're going to start with you once again. What's the likely outcome of this?
Man, this was going to be a rough one for the Keyshawn Davis, man. Like you said, Lemo should be undefeated, and there's we watched that Richardson Hitchens fight, man. He had Hitchens, man, just hurting on his bike a few times in that fight. And a lot of people booed the decision after it was announced. Lemos has about 3 times as fights as Keyshawn. It's a lot of stuff that I think some fighters it would work for, but I think it could work against Keyshawn. It's in his hometown, so there could be distractions and a fear of being, embarrassed, all that anxiety and all that. And then you got his, Keyshawn's character. Not saying that's necessarily bad, but he sometimes he seems to be a guy that can. He's confident, but in some ways he's kind of looking past certain fighters.
Take your time, young man.
Yeah, take your time. But if you want to get in there with guys, like because he's ambitious, he wants to get in there with a Teofimo Lopez, and he would call out certain guys. So this is a good fight for him to take if he wants to prove that, but he better be ready because Lemos is one of those, you look at him and you're like, okay, he's kind of crude, a short guy. I can probably use my reach on him and stuff like that. But this dude fights like a bull. Like we have guys like that, just like what we call bully head. It was his name. Pitbull Cruz. And then you got what was that guy that fought Jamel Charlo was giving him the business, Fighters like that, man. Ryan Castano. Fighters like that, man, you got to watch out for. And Lemos is not a known guy like that, so he gonna make Keyshawn fight. And Keyshawn's gonna have to use his movement. He's gonna have to give Lemos things to think about and use some sharp.
Does Keyshawn fight like that though, sir? Is Keyshawn a mover like that?
No, I mean in the past, early on, I saw some things where I think that he is, but then midway in this fight, more recently, it's almost like he's starting to believe he's something that he's not. But I think.
How do you know he's not though, sir?
I don't know. We're gonna learn this fight. So still, I think there's something in him. Now I think he's gonna win a decision. I think he might get hurt in this fight, but he's gonna win a decision. He's gonna dig down and he's gonna come with a decision over Lemos in his hometown. He will not lose this fight in his hometown.
Okay, what about you, Legend? What do you think is going to happen in this?
Yeah, this is a tricky one, man. I'm definitely going to go with Keyshawn, but I think both guys got something. Keyshawn, he's fighting in his hometown, so he's got to be on his A game. And Lemos is fighting in his hometown, so he knows everything is stacked against him. So, like you said, he probably should have got the nod against Richardson Hitchens. So I think he's going to come in here on his A game, 110%. He's got a lot of power. Aside from the Hitchens loss, like all his previous opponents, he's been stopping. So he's got serious pop. Keyshawn might want to be on his A game. As far as defensive, he want to be on his A game with that. So, but I think Keyshawn he can duke it out with you. He'll stay in there with you, he'll trade with you. So I'm gonna go with Keyshawn. I'm gonna go with Keyshawn by decision, but I do think this is gonna be a war, kind of like Stephen Fortin, his last fight with Castro. Like you're saying, this guy's not too known, so I think he's gonna want to come in here and just show the world who he is in Keyshawn's hometown. So I'm expecting a good 12-round fight.
Gustavo Lemos is going to be Gustavo Lemos. It's not like he's going to try to outbox you or anything like that. He doesn't have the dimensions to be able to do so, but he does have his own style, and you have to figure out that beat. Like you have to figure out his tempo, figure out his movements and things like that. In his last fight, yes, it was one in which I thought that he won, but initially, when they said the fight, I'm like, whoa, Keyshawn, because he keeps dabbling into putting his foot into murky waters in terms of attempting to fight maybe a tier or two, maybe too soon. This right here is going to be a good litmus test. I'm happy and proud of the young man for wanting to take on a challenge like this because Lemos can punch, and Lemos is a dangerous opponent. When I look at the guys, like I said, initially, I'm like, whoa, it might be a little bit much. The thing that, and I'm still kind of up in the air as to how this fight is going to play out, but the thing in Keyshawn's favor is this. Yes, Gustavo did hurt Hitchens a couple times, but there was one time when Hitchens hurt him. Hitchens is not the puncher that Keyshawn Davis is. So if he's in there and he's leaving himself open a few times to get countered, That's where the problem may lie for Lemos. That's where the issue may lie, because it may just be a point of who can take the other guy's shot better, even though the other guy might be a bigger puncher. He may just get caught with something that he doesn't necessarily, see. And those are the punches that are the most devastating and most dangerous for a fighter. So with that being said, there is going to be a tricky fight, man. Keyshawn's always going to be in danger of being hurt. And he was nailing Hitchens. So I don't know if Keyshawn's chin is just as good as Hitchens, then he should be able to survive. He shouldn't get stopped, even if he gets cracked and hurt. So I'm just thinking he's fighting at home. He's going to have the home cooking as far as top rank. Anything that's close, he's going to probably get the nod, kind of like a Saycial against Foster. And so I would have to lean towards Keyshawn. Just don't get knocked out, brother. You understand what I'm saying? That's all. Don't do that, and you should be able to prevail in this one. So that's how I see it. But it's going to be a good fight, though. He's going to be tested, and if he's able to actually win this fight and come through with flying colors, then he really is like that next tier. So you will have your Tanks and whoever it is, like right there, and then he'll be that next wave. What about you, fellas, man? I mean, what about you, Sheldon?
Man, I listen to you guys, and I respect your opinions. Keyshawn is going to roll through this guy. This guy is not that special. He doesn't do much, and Richard Hitchens is not what people think he is. People think he is. Keyshawn is going to make a statement on this guy. I think he stops this guy anywhere between 7 and 9. Keyshawn Davis is a real good fighter. He's not Richardson Hitchens. This fight is not going to be close. Keyshawn's going to show you why he is going to get this title shot against Baranchik if Baranchik wins his fight. And this is not going to be close.
Well, that's yet to be seen, sir. We definitely will report back out. And, as far as what we see next week, I'm not. Part of me think that this might be an upset. It's because again, it's certain guys, these younger dudes, Boots Ennis, Kid Austin, Keyshawn Davis, Hitchens, like all of these little dudes, they really ain't. I don't know just yet, because again, I see the flaws and I know some of the conversations that they talked about. Not Boots per se. Boots just somebody. When I study him, it was Brian Norman Jr.'s father. When he was saying some of the things he said, I'm like, man, you tripping, you bugging. But then when I looked at what he was talking about, I'm like, he does have a point, though. He does. There is some validity to what he's saying. He might be adding extras to it. When I look at Keyshawn, knowing in the past, people talked about how in the gym he quit and he was crying and all of this type of stuff. Like that, you got me a little bit nervous when people say things like that about you in those gyms type of situations. Also, sometimes I see him in fights, and I don't like a guy who your only recourse is to fight harder. That's how you get yourself out. Now, sometimes you got to, fight fire with fire. Sometimes you got to be gritty, but that's your only thing. Like, it ain't adjustments that you making. It's not like, so that's the thing where I'm seeing with him. And right now, that's enough against the opponents that he's facing. You might mess around and try to, step it up against Lemos. You run right into a right hand. But that's what we'll see. You know what I mean? And the last thing I'm going to say is this. My boy, who I just saw this morning, he said, man, he's fighting in Norfolk. I'm putting money on the other dude. He said, what's the odds? Because he knows some personal stuff that's going on too, in which I won't divulge because I'm not, one of them type. I'm not a chatty patty. You know what I mean? So now, also, let's go ahead and get to this news, man. You guys fellas have anything else, man, before we get to this news? I'm sitting up here. I was at Starbucks yesterday. They got this stout, man. They got this vanilla cream stout. And I said, man, in honor of this show, I got, some of the good fellas on here. Ty, you understand what I'm saying? We got Shelton, we got the team back together. I said, why not have me a chocolate vanilla cream stout, while we had this episode. But anything before we go ahead and go to the news?
Yeah, I just want to add, Boots is fighting in his hometown. Keyshawn is fighting in the hometown. Like I said, I'm sure they want to make a statement. I said Boots is a champion this time. Like I said, he's a champion. This time he's fighting a guy in his hometown. Like I said, so I'm sure they've been in the gym working on cutting off the ring better and everything like that. So I think Boots is definitely going to make a statement. But Keyshawn, like I said, I'm a little worried for Keyshawn. I think, like I said, this is his big fight in his hometown. I just think that this one may be a tricky one for him. So I just think he got to be on his A game, man.
See, here's the thing though with that fight at home, because Phil, you mentioned this, and that's the reason I'm surprised you're not saying anything, because you talked to me about this as far as guys fighting at home. You know what I mean? Like
they get distracted, and it depends on the type of fighter. You know, you have guys like Bernard Hopkins. You know what I'm saying? A guy like that don't have issues fighting at home. Guys on the upper echelon who are really, really dedicated to their craft. And I'm not saying that Keyshawn isn't, is that we're not sure of that. I'm more sure that I feel more comfortable with Boots fighting in his hometown than Keyshawn Davis. And that's really not a knock on Davis. You know, that's just how I see it. You know, you have all these distractions. They're in their own element in their town and dealing with people.
All like hangers on, man. You got people he's gonna have a lot of people, man. Give me some tickets or this or that, man.
Right. And I gave you an example yesterday of someone, like, for example, in our era, in this era, current era, you got Errol Spence, who doesn't really deal with that because he has when you look at his system, his family system, and the people that's around him, you know, he have that those people that care about him. So it ain't no thing for him to fight in Dallas. You know, he got locked down, but other people, everybody's not like that.
Give me an example of somebody who fought at home and he didn't perform well because of the distraction.
Jared Hurd.
Jared Hurd. J-Rock. You know, I think J-Rock lost in Philly, you know.
J-Rock Williams, yes. J-Rock Williams, yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say Regis Prograis. He had fought a fight before in New Orleans where the dude dropped him in the first round.
Teofimo
Lopez. He
did Lopez.
He did both.
Like you said, Regis Prograis.
Regis Prograis. Your boy, the one Matias. Remember, he got whooped on and
exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
So you gotta be mindful of that.
A lot of guys can't deal with the pressure of being at home because you got more radio interviews, TV interviews. Your time is sucked up. People ask you for tickets. You got pressures of showing up to this event, showing up to that event, get the keys to the city, all that kind of good stuff. And that stuff distracts you.
And it'd be
strong mentally to deal with that.
You definitely do. You got to make sure that you on point, you know, to a higher degree. For instance, when I used to hoop, right? I remember, we can get away with it because of the fact we're not getting punched in the head, but we'll have a home game or we'll be somewhere, and just to go ahead and dazzle the crowd, for me, right, they'd be like, it'd be like people in the crowd talking about some shoot from there, Will Hen. And so just to go ahead and give them what it is that they want, I mess around, take a deep shot, you know what I mean? And they'd be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Where you might do a little extra something to please, like, just so they get what it is that they came there for, because you're entertaining. But that might get you in trouble too. You know what I mean? Because you're not sticking to the game plan. And in boxing, that's a big, you know, thing right there, is to make sure you follow the instruction in your corner. We got somebody, man.
Think about this, Will. Think about this, Will. And going back to basketball. Look at the NBA. Let's look at the NBA. Where do the role players play their best?
Home.
No. Role players play their best on the road because the team gets to spend time together. When everybody's at home, everybody's on their phone, they're doing their own thing, they're worrying about this, that, and the third, and usually they play worse at home than they do on the road.
Got you. Shogun, you with us, good brother?
Yeah, man. Y'all are making some good points, and y'all are actually saying what I was gonna say is, you know, the hometown factor. We see a lot of guys just underperform because this is, if I'm not mistaken, this is Keyshawn's first main event and homecoming fight, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, man. So think about the pressure. It's even the pressure that night in the ring, on top of all the other, distractions leading up to the fight, and it's like throwing a house party. You know, like you're that new kid in school. And you're like, man, I'm throwing my first house party. I need everything to go right. You know what I mean? You're nervous and like you have everybody over, and I'm trying to like make an example. But you know what I mean? But so he's the kind of guy that he wears his heart on his sleeve, and he gets caught up in a lot of other things outside the ring. That's why I hear some of y'all saying kind of the same thing that I'm seeing. So like you see him on the lives with Ryan
Oh
and
man.
and, and on social media calling for Floyd to link up with him, and he seems like he's trying a little too hard. And when one of y'all said that Boots is different, and he is, because he's more like a laid back dude. He doesn't get caught up, and
Mhm.
you know what I mean, he's more of an introvert. You know what I mean? So he seems like the dude is just at home playing video games instead of
Boots, but and the biggest difference between them is that Boots got Bozy right there. You know what I'm saying? Like that's and Keyshawn don't have that.
Yeah, and with Boots, I don't know, like I think he just seems more refined, and you see the different levels these kids have, and like we saw last night with Kid Austin, there was a lot of hype behind him, but we kind of started seeing him get into sloppy fights, and he get into that kind of Sean Porter blitz type of
Mhm.
offense. You know what I mean? So he showed that last night, and I seen a little bit of that with Keyshawn in his last couple of fights where he's getting dragged in, he's getting busted up a little bit, but he's just trying to walk the guy down. But not to that not to that degree of sloppiness I saw last night from Kid Austin. So you're just seeing the different levels, man. So it's a good test, man. I'm glad that we got to see what these guys are made of, and that's what I like about Top Rank. They don't really coddle these guys too long. They're like, hey, man, we got to see what we got.
Yeah, absolutely. They did that with Big Baby, and they saw what they had in that moment. But
Oh,
let
well,
me ask
I don't know. They didn't want that fight. I know they didn't want that fight. But how do you turn down the Saudi money? You
you,
know,
yeah,
like
you gay.
yeah, the
Yeah,
matchmakers were like, no, he ain't ready. Let's cook him a little bit longer because they're real good at cooking these guys, like and getting them out when they're ready. But it's hard to say no to that money. You know what I mean? When turkey's right there giving you the bag.
well, we got you right here,
Well, you
good
got to
brother.
understand too. You guys got to understand also that after the Charles Martin put up that showing against Anderson with an 11-day notice. If Charles Martin can do that to you in 11 days, a guy like McCauley who's been training and fighting and been active, man, you in trouble.
Well, and we also saw like the outside of the ring stuff with Anderson too. I mean, he was catching cases, and he has a therapy dog, y'all. Like
Yeah,
everybody thinks that, hey, that's his pet. No, that's a therapy dog because you see him crying and he's kind of emotionally unstable. You know what I mean? Like that stuff kind of really made me wonder. And then the legal troubles, I'm like, yeah, he gets caught up on the outside. But when you see the other young guns, like I see we get like Abdullah. I saw Abdullah Mason alive here in Texas, and man, that kid is like mature. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Like he's just like when you talk to the kid, he's direct. You know what I mean? He just doesn't seem like anything really phases him. He doesn't get anything out like that.
Yeah,
So that goes a long way, man. Because these new wave guys, they mirror the new kids in society where they get caught up in social media and their feelings, and they're a little more sensitive than the generations before them. And when you see these guys doing this outside the ring, like man, I don't know. That just makes me question them.
yeah, man. That like you say, that's that social media age that has affected and impacted some kids, and that like that short notice could go either way too, because you could it could affect like what's his name, Zoo. Like Zoo, that was to me that was crazy that they put him in there with Fundora that short notice after he was training for Keith Thurman. You know what I'm saying? And that's hard to make that adjustment. And you seen that happen with what's his name? Big boy from England, Joshua, when he was fighting Ruiz. Remember they switched Big Baby and then they put Ruiz in there. Like that's a different style guy, and that's almost you probably at the time you would say Ruiz was that matchup was probably worse than Big Baby would have been at that time. So I don't know, like that switcherooski is kind of tricky. You know what I mean when it comes to certain opponents. And then as far as Big Baby is concerned. Yeah, he that's why I mentioned before that they probably if they're gonna try to rebuild him, they need to get him back in the ring as soon as possible, get him back on the bike because you don't want to let somebody like that who's so unstable mentally to be off for a long period of time because then he might run a risk of getting in trouble. He might run a risk of not even caring about boxing anymore. You never know where his mind's gonna wander. So if you're gonna get him back on track, then it gotta be like a plan to get him back in there as quick as possible.
But
That's what they
you
did
also
with
got to think
Dubois.
about.
Yeah, they did the
But
same.
you also got to think about the health issue.
Go.
Because you got to remember, Big Baby Anderson got knocked out viciously. That was a beatdown.
Yeah.
So when is he going to be ready to get back into the gym?
That's when you put him in there with a Paulie Malignaggi type, fisted heavyweight. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, everybody wrote off Dubois. He was a young kid. He came up. He took some losses, and they put him back to work. But he's got to want to go back to work like that. And look, now he's back in the game, and he's a champion again, and he's gonna be here for a while because he's the youngest out of the crop when it comes to the guys with the belt. So yeah, man, they just got to put him in quick and see if he's got that hunger, man. And maybe the pressure's off of him because all right, I already lost. The expectation of being this next guy, maybe it's not as heavy on his shoulders, and now he can just come up when he's ready. You know what I mean?
He never came across like that though, because he always talking about I don't really want to fight. I'm gonna fight some 30, and you know what I'm saying? He already had him like an exit plan. And he just didn't seem like a prototypical. That's what really never got me into him like that. I'm like, dude, if you saying that, but what surprised me is when he would get in trouble. So when you have that type of mentality, you saying that sort of thing, then I'm thinking when the going gets tough, then you probably going to either quit or whatever. But he doesn't have that in him. Like it's the opposite. Even though he's saying that, like he don't really care about boxing, he cares because you saw he kept getting up. He kept trying to come back. Even in the Charles Martin fight, you know what I mean? He was able to overcome some of that adversity. It's just hopefully psychologically it's something they can do something with him where he's. I don't know if you can do that though. It has to be either in you. It can't be something that's coached. But what we got you?
To your point, Shelton. I just looked it up, and that dude. Your point about Anderson having an emotional support dog. I'm not gonna say do or don't, but I do have his Rottweiler has a vest on that.
No, he is. That's what it is. No,
yeah, only time I've seen that vest is when someone has an emotional support.
That's what that's a fact. Like it's no like secret. Shogun, while we got you here,
I don't know how long. Got mental issues. Go ahead, Will. But the kid got mental issues, Val. He got mental issues. You got to work on some stuff.
It ain't no secret. Shogun, while we got you here, a couple things, man. We talked about the fight that took place yesterday. Did you agree with the decision yesterday?
Yeah, I mean that's I do. I mean, Konsakow, he's a ham and egger, man. It's hard to look good against these guys, man. I honestly, these are the guys that are just, they don't bring a lot to the table. They're good, they're solid, but you can't dominate them. I mean, this dude just is a difficult guy they're just some guys are just difficult like that. But yeah, man, I'm glad he got his belt back because I think they could do more because he's American. You know what I mean? They could bring him back, and they got some good fights lined up, some good matchups. So those divisions are stacked, man. We just need these guys to start fighting each other, man. I'm tired of seeing the Twitter stuff, man. They just got to get in the ring.
No, I was hoping Conceição once because I was hoping that they'll put him in there. Because since he's from Brazil, they might put a fight out there in Rio. I can go back to Rio because Rio got some bad women out there, man.
Oh man, that's on my bucket list right there.
You gotta go, man.
So you got personal. So it's not objective with you, Will. You got personal bias involved in your decision.
Man, have you seen them women? I would too.
Man.
Oh yeah, I made a trip over there myself. I'm a little older, so I've been over there. I know what's going down over there. You gotta be careful though now. Will, gotta be careful now.
Come on, man.
You gotta be ready if you know what I'm talking about.
Listen,
gotta be ready.
I wear two of them, man. When I handle my business.
There you go, smart man. I got you, smart man.
I always stay protected. But anyway, while we got you here, good sir. So that was the first thing. So also next week, what's your predictions on the fights? Let's go ahead and start with Boots and Kieran. You think Boots gonna get him out of there?
Yeah, he's got it. I mean, I think he's gonna do better now. I'm worried about the weight, y'all. He's a big guy. Like I'm like, man, he's. I hope he doesn't stay too long at a weight that's gonna drain him. But he's got this guy. He's got it. But I think he's gonna figure him out a little bit. He's already got a feel for him. So I think he's gonna dominate. I think he's gonna get a stoppage. I think with Bam is I think he'll get another good win too. Because I saw Bam at home here. And he underperformed one time, and I think it was like we said earlier with the other guys, the distractions, and then he broke his jaw. And I've seen him get heavy between fights, so it's good that he's away in a way because he's still a young guy. I think he's gonna build him up into a hometown guy, and maybe he'll kick in at the right time when he's in his like late 20s, and he's past all that. I mean, he just had a kid too, so maybe that'll mellow him out too. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited about those fights, man. I think Boots is gonna shine, but I'm just curious, man. Is he gonna move up? Because man, I mean,
So he gonna,
Barrios is fighting, and I'm like, I don't really want to see that. I mean, because I know he's gonna beat Barrios. There's no intrigue.
nah, but he said he want those straps, man. He want to be undisputed at welterweight. So that's gonna be at least, unless somebody else has 2 of the straps.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I don't like about it, it's not really a deep division. So I'm like, if he doesn't go undisputed, that's fine. And it's just like these guys are pushing to get all these belts. It's like, man, that's a lot of money out of their pockets, man. What is that? 12% of their 12% of their pay for 4 belts. You know what I mean? Just get the ring belt and call it a day, bro.
Man, I'm gonna say it like this though. I'm gonna be honest, fellas. Boots, you better stay if you can stay at 147, because he say it doesn't look like it, but he says he makes it comfortable. Brother, stay away from all of them 154-pound dudes, man. He's not nobody, none of them are gonna go undefeated against all the other guys. Not one of them. There's not one of them they all good. Like they all like very good fighters. Big, strong, 154-pound guys who that's their weight. Man, I would have, if I was him, I would hope for there to be like 1 or 2 belts available at 154, because one guy has like 3 of the belts, or somebody mess around becomes undisputed. Then I go up there, have me a fight or 2, and then take on that guy, as opposed to having to go through this guy, go through that guy. 154 is just way too tough right now, man. Last but not least, next week you got Keyshawn, man. What do you think is going to happen in that one, though?
You guys are making good points, man. I'm a little worried about the kid, but I'm glad we're gonna see. We got to find out, right? So
don't be worried. You never know. He might just surprise everybody. But I'm just
yeah. I mean, yeah, he might be one of those guys that we see guys rise to the occasion, but we don't know yet. You know what I mean? He's so young in the game, but
Yeah.
I'm hoping he does, man, because he's got personality. The only thing I don't like is when he says, "I'll never fight Shakur because we're friends." I'm like, man, friends help each other make money, and that's fighting. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, I'm rooting for him. I think he's gonna. I'm gonna go with he's gonna win, and he's gonna look good. I'm gonna be positive. I'm gonna say he shines. Because he's been begging for this. He wants the attention. He's like, look at me, and now he's got it. He's got a hometown fight, main event. So maybe he's in his element now, where he's the center of attention, because he never really was, and he wanted to be. So I'm gonna be positive. I'm gonna say he gets a spectacular knockout, but against a tough guy.
Yeah, your boy Vale, he's gonna be out there next week. You know what I'm saying? So he'll get a bird's eye view of what's going on out there.
I'm in the building. Yeah, I'm in the building. So all you listeners out there, you see me, just say what's up, man. Hey, just enjoy it like I'm gonna enjoy it.
Nah, man. Anybody that say anything controversial on this show, that's Vale. So holla at him. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, man. Hey, how long we got you here?
Oh yeah, no. I'm just kicking back, man. Watching the Cowboys lose, man, and
Yeah, man. Listen, man. Look, Cowboys.
They say we them boys.
Yeah, man. Let's just chop it up. I got a few more topics, man. Then we can go ahead and call it a day. We got William Zepeda and Tevin Farmer. They are going to fight on November 16th. In this fight, Zepeda, he's going in, according to Bovada Sportsbook, as an 8.5-1 favorite. Do you think that fight right there for Zepeda, is that a good fight for Zepeda, to stay busy?
To me, no, and this is why. And maybe this just maybe I'm too hard on fighters, but it's like, yeah, it's somebody that you can win and not take any damage until you get a big fight. But at the same time, man, you should be sharpening your skill against somebody that's going to make you better. And I'm not saying Tevin Farmer isn't a good fighter. It's just that I think his window kind of closed a little bit. I mean, he's always going to be tricky, but I think his window kind of closed. And now he's that guy who, if he's not a physical threat. So it's like, if you want to win, I'll just get Tevin Farmer and get me a win, and for him, for Tevin Farmer, it's good if from a business standpoint because he's gonna make money. But now you're gonna have guys, tough guys, upper echelon guys trying to fight him when they ain't got nothing else to do. So that's why I don't really like this fight.
I mean, what other options does he have though?
Well, if lightweight guys just fight each other, he has a lot of options. The lightweight guys fought each other, he has lots of options.
I'm gonna step in for a second based on what Vale's saying. The only reason I like the fight is because if he's eventually gonna fight Shakur Stevenson, you're getting kind of a knockoff version. Not necessarily that they fight that somebody's fighting like a slick, crafty guy. And so to be able to be in a ring with something like that you've never been in a ring with before, then to me that's a good thing. If that's the guy that you're going to go ahead and seek out, which looks like they're on a collision course to face. What about you, Sheldon?
Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
Think about this.
Oh, no, that's you. My bad.
You got to think about this, bro. You got to think about this. Tank Davis is what? Southpaw, right?
Tank is too. Yep.
Tank is a southpaw. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shakur Stevenson is Southpaw, correct?
Yep.
This is getting you prepared to fight a Southpaw fighter. Tevin Farmer is not what he once was, but Tevin Farmer is still a good test for a guy like Zepeda, who's a good fighter. He throws a lot of punches. He got great stamina, but he fights one way. He needs this experience because going into a fight against those top guys and you've never really fought a left-hander, you're going to get cooked. He needs this experience to get him prepared for what he's going to see with these guys. I like to fight. I mean, like Will was saying, it's true. What options did he have? He's not going to fight Baranchik.
He should, but no, what I'm saying
Now Baranchik moves down.
Now you're saying something that's key.
Now Baranchik moves down. Keyshawn Davis got to fight. Who is he going to fight?
You saying that? You saying what you're saying is key, and I want to focus on something you said. You're saying this guy is going to get me prepared for the Shakur Stevenson. He should be doing that like in the last 5 years of his career. You always take fights to give you a little seasoning against this style, that style. So when you do get to the upper echelon and get that championship belt, you already ready. You ain't gotta, man, I'm a champion, but I gotta get a fight like this so I can prepare for this type of style because I never fought this style before.
People do it all the time though. You know what I'm saying? And also you putting together your portfolio, you marketing yourself to get to a certain point. That's so some of it you gotta kind of dually task. For one, Shakur wasn't even at the weight class 5 years ago. So how would I even know that was going to be a path that I was going to be on? 5 years ago, how did I even know
you're right on my page, Will. You're right on my page. Go ahead and finish that.
I'm just saying, I'm gonna let you go ahead and finish it off because I'm just like that piece of it. We are right now. You know what I mean? And at this particular point, it does look like Shakur Stevenson is going to be his next big fight once Shakur heals up. And so why not take you a guy? I remember, to give you an example, when Canelo was about to face Triple G, at that time, he ended up moving up to face Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Even though Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. was in Triple G, he wanted to face a bigger guy. He wanted to, just see that type of thing that he was going to be dealing with, even though Triple G is a way better fighter. I'm just preparing myself for what it is I'm going to see, ultimately. And so I think that's what he's doing right now.
Hey, let my guy from Texas go ahead. I'll go after him. What's your name, brother?
We got to let Ty get up in here, too. Ty been on the show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Let Ty get up in there.
Yeah, me personally, man, I always have a feeling about the power puncher versus the guy that don't got power. And that's what this is. So, I mean, Tevin Farmer don't have anything to hurt Zepeda, so he's gonna have to work that much harder. You know what I mean? But I think Zepeda, to be honest, man, I think Zepeda stops Tevin Farmer late. Tevin Farmer is a good fighter. He was once in talks to be one of those guys to fight Tank, but man, I just see Zepeda stopping Tevin Farmer late. But then a lot of people feel that Tevin Farmer was robbed in his last one against
Mary Tyler. It's the same thing.
Yeah, so but I think Zepeda, man, he's got that pressure. He throws punches nonstop. He's got the combination. I think Zepeda stops Tevin Farmer late. That's just me.
If he is who he's supposed to be.
So yeah, that's my take.
No, I hear you. So what we got?
What's my man from Texas? What's his name, bro?
Shogun.
Yeah, hey, what's up? Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I agree with a lot of
Shogun.
y'all.
Yeah, get up in there, man. Go ahead, Shogun.
I agree with a lot of y'all's points, man. Y'all know your boxing, man. I give it to y'all, man. Like, and for the guy, I don't forgot who said it, that they, I wish they would have done it 5 years ago. Yeah, man, I kind of feel the same way, but maybe like 2 years ago. You know what I mean? Maybe a little bit more recent, but it is kind of a good to see how he's gonna do versus a stylist versus an athletic fighter. That's gonna be able to move, but because he looks like a phenom, man. The way he throws punches, I've never seen a dude throw that many punches like that fast in a long time. So I want to see if he can maintain that versus a guy who can make him reset his feet. But yeah, I mean, I don't. But I'm not crazy about the fight. You know what I mean? I like the style matchup, but I'm not crazy about the fight. And with Golden Boy, man, I don't know what they're gonna do with him because we've seen Golden Boy throw their guys to the lions, but we've also seen guys, Golden Boy, do a lot of talking and protect their guys like they did Munguia. So I think they're kind of gonna see how he does with this fighter, with this style, and if he does good, maybe they might just throw him in, or if he doesn't look as hot, they might go the Munguia route, just protect him.
Listen, man, the Turkey want to see that Cepeda fight. You know what I'm saying? It's because Shakur messing with Turkey now. So once Turkey getting throwing that Saudi money at you, that's the offer a lot of people can't refuse. All right, Show, what you got?
And you got to remember this, Will. You got to remember this, that the fact that William Cepeda is number one in every sanctioning body.
Mm-hmm. So you got options.
He's number one in all of them. He's number one in all of them. So he doesn't have anywhere to go. He gonna have to, after Farmer, he gotta fight one of those guys. That's all he got left.
Yeah, that's a good thing, man. He got options. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I like what I see from Cepeda, but you gotta, again, if I was his handlers, I would want to see him fight somebody like Tevin Farmer, to fight a slippery guy and see how you fare. You know what I mean? And then we can make some adjustments moving forward. All right. So now, also Dubois, he has an opportunity to make what do they call those defenses that's not mandatory?
Voluntary.
Yeah, he has a voluntary defense that he can take, and so he says he's open to a Wardley fight. We saw what happened with Wardley in his last fight. He ended up getting that devastating knockout. No odds just yet on the Dubois versus Wardley fight, according to Bovada Sportsbook. But do you like that for him? Like, if he's just going to take a fight in between, possibly a AJ fight or another big fight, that he will have to take, or a mandatory. Is that a goodie?
I don't know about sleeping on Fabio Wardley now. I mean,
yeah, don't sleep on him. Don't sleep on him. Don't sleep on him. But he didn't, even though he got that crazy knockout and broke my man's jaw, he didn't get a lot of rounds in. So the longer it goes, the more it's going to favor Dubois, who has those rounds of war that he's been through already.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily, because you got to remember, Fabio Wardley's been extremely active. He's fought like in 2024. This is like his third fight. He's fought 3 times this year. So let's not go with he ain't got no rounds in.
Yeah, but I don't see. Well, for Fabio, we also got to look at who is Fabio fought that's preparing him for a Daniel Dubois. Is he even ready for that? And I'm not saying he isn't or anything like that, but I'm just giving another perspective of why, if I'm Dubois, I would take this fight.
Hey, you know the old adage in boxing, right? how you gonna know if he's ready? Only way you gonna know if he's ready is if you put him in there.
All right, so Dubois gonna go in there like, yeah, all right. So if I'm Dubois, I want to hear after I stop a Wardley that, oh man, who is this guy? You know what I'm saying? The same dude that broke.
Would you take the fight, sir? Not the diplomatic Kamala Harris answer, sir. Like, what are we doing?
Yes, I would take the fight.
Activity, y'all. Activity. And he's young, and we're seeing a lot of the guys that are taking bad losses or not looking as sharp because these kids ain't fighting enough. You know what I mean? So he's taking it old school and he's getting another payday. So it's a good thing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the fight. I like the fight. Fabian Warley, he has almost all knockouts in his fight, so he's a power puncher, devastating, knockout in his last fight. But before that, he also had a draw with Clark, so he got a nice 12 rounds in. But that was like earlier this year, and then I know he stopped Michael Coffey, and he stopped. I don't know if I'm saying the guy's name right, David Adela or something.
Yeah,
that guy had a nice record too, and that he
David Adelaide. Yeah. He was 20-0 with 18 knockouts.
Yeah, so
he wasn't. You talking about David Adelaide?
Nah, he didn't have that many fights. He was 12
and
11.
12 and 12.
Did he?
But he had almost all knockouts in his fight. So I mean, he's fought some decent guys. So I mean, I'll take it. Like I said, it's two power punchers. Anything can happen in the heavyweight division, man. When once we already seen Daniel Dubois in his position, we seen him stop, we seen him hurt. So I mean, Warley got a chance.
Yeah, he got a chance. Nah, for me personally, if I was him, I would not fool around with that man at all. not a voluntary defense. No, what I would want to see is Warley. Let's see you fight somebody to get in position to face me. Because now I can see a little bit more of you. Like, you show me some flaws. It's kind of like when Errol Spence was coming up and dudes was kind of like, okay, nah, you haven't really fought anybody. You've been beating dudes. But we want to see you against a top-tier guy. And then we might mess around and get busy with you. Because we've been fighting each other, and we've been having those war wounds and things like that. You too fresh. And so that's what I would want to see with Warley. If I'm Dubois, I've made it to this point.
Okay.
I don't win.
So let's look at your list. Hold on, let's look at your list right here. So on your list that you have on your screen, who should he fight?
If I was him, I would face, even though if it's a voluntary, because I like his chances more so with the old guard, right? So even if he fought, this is a tough fight, him and Parker, right? But I would take somebody like Parker over Warley. Because if I lose to Parker, then you getting outclassed. Warley, you going to sleep. You know what I'm saying? But I just want to see a little bit more. I don't know what's going to happen. See, with him and AJ, that matchup, that's perfect for Dubois because of the fact that once I stalk this dude, AJ is not good at having a power puncher move forward against him. I would have to look at, he doesn't necessarily have to fight these 10 guys. It could be other people out there. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know the other dudes that's available for him to face. But if I'm looking at this right here, all of these right here are challenging guys. You know what I mean? I just think, though, Dubois, to be honest with you, this is the best I've seen him. Like right now, he's like at the peak of his powers. But I would like to see him do. But they don't do that. Like AJ still be fighting, tough kind of guys, like a Pulev or somebody like that. You know what I mean? Oh, he can fight?
Okay.
I'm going to tell you who he can fight.
Who?
That one dude that they always let him have the belt. He's not on here. But he always had like the WBA, like the secondary belt. He didn't have the belt for a long time. I forgot the name of the guy. But I'll fight somebody like that.
Trevor Bryan? You talking about Trevor Bryan?
No, not Trevor Bryan. It's I'll tell you next week because we don't have that much. I don't want to belabor. But anything else on your guy right there? Triple D, pause, Dubois.
Nah, we'll see what he does. We'll see.
This second to the last thing, man. Boots Ennis, man. See, this is the stuff. When I talk about Boots, man, it's kind of like a little delusional here, man. When you talk about, dude, you're about to fight Karen. Whoever it is that you fight, let's say first you fight Barrios. He says that he'll capture the number one pound for pound in 2 fights. Brother, you haven't been fighting anybody.
Hey,
how are you? What are you talking about?
Hey, I think it's possible. I ain't gonna say it's likely, but it's possible. Let me give you a scenario where he does this.
How? Wait.
Let me give you a scenario. Let me give you a scenario. How?
So you got Alexander Usyk. You got a new way.
Let me give you a scenario where he fights 2 fights because he didn't give you the parameters. He just said 2 fights. He didn't say what type of fights.
I'm talking about realistic though.
No. Realistically, he can move up to 155, knock out Terrence Crawford, and he can fight.
We know it. That's what you saying. Something we know it's not going to happen.
He said it. He can move. Then he can fight Canelo at a catch weight at 162. If he, knock out Canelo, there you go. Pound for pound number one. It's possible. It's delusional. He's delusional if he thinks it's going to be anything else than that.
Val.
Can we knock it off there? That's what I'm saying.
Hey,
man.
he said it. So why not give him the parameter? Like, why not give him how he can do it? If he's saying this, he's saying in 2 fights, I need 2 fights. I can become pound for pound one. I'll tell him what 2 fights he can take to do it. Now, if he don't do it, you ain't pound for pound number one.
Listen, I'm talking about realistically, based on what you know of his history, who he's been facing, who would want to fight him, who he's talking about fighting. He's talking about being an undisputed champion at 147. He's not talking about Crawford's not talking about fighting him. Crawford's talking about doing other stuff.
But he's also talking about 154.
He's realm of possibilities. So let's try to make sure we keep it realistic based on what we know and who he potentially will be facing realistically. That is delusional. You can't measure what it is that you've been doing in your career to Alexander Usyk. I'm gonna bypass a new way, even though a new way with the Fulton and all of the belts that he's collected. You wouldn't be able to overtake him. We know you're not gonna overtake no dang on Terrence Bud Crawford. Better be undisputed champion at light heavyweight, all of the tough guys that he's faced. No, sir, you wouldn't overtake Canelo. You wouldn't. Man, look, that's the most delusional stuff, and that's what I'm saying. Can we just call out nonsense, even if we like to do it? Can we do that at least? What do you fellas think, man? Am I like just being just a grumpy old man at this point?
Well, he could make an argument if he does like based off the eye test to maybe be considered for like lower half of the pound for pound. But what he would have to do.
You said it right there, sir. It says number 1 pound for pound.
No, not number 1. But if he goes on and knocks out Karen in spectacular fashion, razzles and dazzles, and Barrios wins, and he knocks him out in like Roy Jones prime type fashion, where you're like, man, this dude is like that was sick. You're looking at something special, because he has those. I think he might have those abilities. We got to see. But if he does something like that, then he can start making the argument where he belongs on the list.
On the list, okay, I get it. Yeah, I can see that because when I look at these guys down here, yeah, with that sort of thing, I might allow you to crack my top 10. Yes, yeah, I get that, but no number 1 pound for pound. Stop it, man. Like that lets me know that you, brother. What classes were you taking in Philly? If you really think,
hey, let's leave the Philadelphia school system out of this.
I don't listen, man. I don't. But anyway. Ty, what you think? You think he can crack number 1 pound for pound?
Nah, not with a rent over this Karen dude. It all depends on who he goes up and fight at 154. But I don't see it. But me personally, it's a lot of big names in the 154 division. But me personally, for some reason, I think a start off fight for him at 154 would be Erison Lubin. I'm not too high on Erison Lubin, but I think that's a good test for Boots, and I think Boots can stop him. But I don't think he'll get that spot after 2 fights. No.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I gotta see more Boots. I just gotta see more Boots, man, because that 154 might be a little bit too much. Do y'all want to touch on what Bradley? Bradley, to me, man, he's like the movie Life, when the dude was like, that's the gun line boss. You know what I'm saying? Like he's that type of dude to me. But anyway, he's talking about his main thing is that Haney would have beaten Ryan if he kept his guard up. I think that I don't know. I don't even think that's a topic of discussion because I agree with that to a certain degree. But some of the other stuff that Tim Bradley says, it just gets on my nerves, man. It just upsets me. Last few things. Let me see. I'm going to skip the Canelo has no interest in Eubank Jr. fight, which is good. He shouldn't have any interest in that fight because you keep fighting these mediocre guys, Canelo. Keyshawn Davis. Is this right here? Is he right when he says that Andy Cruz isn't ready, like for him at this particular point, and that he shouldn't even be considering an Andy Cruz fight based on their history? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, technically he's right, but he's a hypocrite because you up here saying you ready for Teofimo Lopez and all this, man. Well, it's what he's saying is kind of smoke and mirrors because, dude, Andy Cruz is calling you out. The only reason that you don't want to fight him is because Andy Cruz beat you in the amateurs. That's the only thing, man. If I'm Keyshawn Davis, I would want that get back. And I think they're looking too. These fighters today, they think too much in business terms and not in. They don't have that fighter's heart type. If somebody got me 2 times like that, like I'll give you a situation where this did happen. Shane Mosley, he fought. He had a problem fighting Vernon Forrest. Now Vernon Forrest still beat him twice again, but he ain't had no problem. He still put it on the line because he wanted that get back. He like, man, this is my rival. This dude, he proved he on my level. I'm gonna fight him. You know.
Well, Shane Mosley was never the A side.
Well, against Vernon Forrest, yeah, it was the A side.
You know, I'm talking about like in the upper echelon.
He was always the A side, even in the second fight.
Look,
He was always the A side, even in the second fight.
You talking about Shane Mosley? Shane Mosley, who beat Oscar De La Hoya, but he still was like under Oscar De La Hoya. Is that who you talking about? That's Shane Mosley.
He was the A side against Vernon Forrest, no matter when they fought.
Yeah, he ain't really you talking about Shane Mosley that never been on who could headline a pay-per-view. Is that Shane Mosley you talking about?
Can Keyshawn Davis
Shane Mosley that won titles in 3 different divisions? Yeah. That's the Shane Mosley I'm talking about.
Yes. He didn't have to fight Vernon Forrest.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. That's the reason why they had to fight him because he really wasn't that big of a guy.
But you have
I'm getting y'all riled up. So what happened is when Floyd Mayweather was about to fight Juan Manuel Marquez, Brian Kenny was getting at Floyd for not fighting Shane Mosley. So that's what Floyd was telling Brian Kenny was that who Shane Mosley who can't do a pay-per-view. And then they were saying, well, why are you gonna fight Marquez? He said, well, he got a whole country behind him, whatever. But anyway, I digress. What were you saying, sir?
Keyshawn Davis is not huge, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
I was just saying, man, I just was playing around with you.
Okay, all right. I know you might want to give me riled up. All right.
Andy Cruz. I mean, what is Keyshawn Davis's nickname? Correct me. Let me know.
I hear the name, but can you get busy? You know what I'm saying? In order to be able to.
No. I'm just saying. His nickname is the businessman, right?
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So if he wins this fight, is getting a title shot better business than fighting Andy Cruz? A 4-fight fighter? I'm just saying.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. So what you think, Ty? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, like I said, man, he's only had 4 fights. So I mean, I didn't know they fought in the amateurs, but
no, he was getting busy on Keyshawn, man. Like, yeah, you got to know that now. He was putting them paws on him. He was putting them Cuban paws on him. You know what I'm saying? Lumping him up.
Yeah, I mean,
he only got 4 fights, man. Ain't nobody know who fuck Andy Cruz is except you.
Yeah, they ain't know who Loma was until he was putting that work in, though. If you're the businessman, once you put some work in, you understand what I'm saying? Like this man right
here. Shot. That's more important than fighting a 4-fight fighter.
Yeah, that's why I hope this Lemos dude go ahead and drag him each and every round and beat the mess out of him so we can get out of this nonsense. So we can get some dude.
I can say that I saw it live.
Listen, man. No, this is what
I hear the bias dripping off a wheel today.
No, what I'm saying is because again, it's easy to take different avenues and different routes in order to get where it is that you want to get to. It's like the Schofield. Schofield's over there. He looked bad. Now everybody's talking about they want to fight him and they talking crazy. But when you didn't know that was what he was going to look like, nobody was even mentioning. They ignoring him. No, man.
Well, hold up, this dude right here. At that point. Hold up, bro. You knew he was trash because you told me he was trash. I'm saying
them guys. I'm saying them guys.
Trash. We knew he was trash, bro. Come on now. Don't do that. We knew Schofield was all hype. We knew that.
I think you misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm talking about the guys who are calling him out. I don't know what they knew about the guy. But now when he looks less than stellar, he looks vulnerable. Now he's on Tank's hit list. Like, no, man. Like that's just BS to me. And this right here with Keyshawn.
Oh, you didn't hear? Oh, I forget. You didn't hear the Cigar Talk interview on Thursday, huh? You didn't see that. You didn't see that. Huh?
So just hear me out, sir. You can poke holes with whatever it is I'm saying. I'm just talking about a mentality. I'm talking about just having that heart, having that wherewithal. Like I say, so again, I keep bringing up the basketball stuff, but you're talking to a person. When I got busy, when I went to school, I don't care what clothes I had on, man. I can have like my outfit of the week going to the football game, but guess what? Underneath that, I had some shorts on. I had some shoes in my car. So any of these dudes who talk like, man, you ain't that good, motherfucker, we can go to the court right now. You understand what I'm saying? Like that's how I give it up. So I would assume that a boxer would have that mentality that I don't get this dude 4-0. Man, at least have the intestinal fortitude or the wherewithal to say, not that he's not ready. If he think he's ready, sign the contract. This how I talk to him, nigga. You want to fight, man? You can't beat me.
Hey, we want to stay on YouTube, sir.
We want to stay on YouTube, but what I'm saying is like this sucker stuff got to stop, man, and we got to quit it. We can't be sitting up here allowing these dudes to meander around and not do what it is that they supposed to be doing as fighters. It's not like I'm talking about somebody who is trying to make a business deal over here and okay, this, we're trying to get this market over here, so you're a little bit smaller over there, so we're not going to. No, you're a fighter, brother. If you're a fighter, you always want to get busy with whoever. If it's right, sign the contract. If Bob is willing to go ahead and make the fight, I knock this dude off. He ain't on my level. That's what you say, and let them handle all the other stuff. But don't be sitting up here figuring out a way not to fight somebody. No, you always want that smoke because there's nobody that can mess with me. I don't care if you're talking about Shakur Stevenson. That's my boy. But if he want it, we can get it now. But at the same time, like I'm not really looking into that fight. But if it happens, it's gonna happen because I got to get where it is I need to get to because I'm that dude. I'm the one. I'm Sugar Ray Leonard.
Well, that's what I was trying to tell you. That's what I was trying to tell you. That Thursday, Schofield did an interview. He's on live on Cigar Talk. And he was talking, his father was doing what his father does. And Shakur pulled up on him Thursday and told him he was trash and he was probably going to get beat. Shakur Stevenson told him that Thursday before the fight. You're trash.
Shakur did.
You're garbage. And you're probably going to get beat.
That's fine and Danny. I'm not necessarily even talking about Shakur because I think Shakur is somebody more than the other guys who want smoke with other fighters. But there's other guys who are even looked at more in a more lofty manner as far as the masses are concerned, who only speak out when they see some vulnerability in someone. That's the people who I'm referring to. But anyway, my bad.
Tell us. What you talking about? You talking about Tank Davis? Okay.
I'm definitely talking about Tank. What about you, Shogun, man? This is the last topic, man. What you think about this, though?
Yeah, it goes back to that youngster mentality with when they're on social media, and Devin Haney kind of did the same thing, man. You remember when he saw Regis Prograis, and Regis Prograis got a questionable decision versus the Zorilla, I think is his name. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, all right, we're going to fight that guy because they saw the vulnerability. And boxing's all about timing, man. It's like, but when the young, hungry guys, yeah, man, I want to hear him say, yeah, I'll fight anybody. I don't care. You know what I mean? And then behind closed doors, let your handlers like turn down fights if they got to. You know what I mean? I want to hear my fighters. I want to hear my fighters hungry. It's like there's the one thing I did like about Charlo was, he said he'll fight anybody. They're like, would you fight Spence? Like, yeah, we make each other money. I'll fight him. And we're boys. But at the end of the day, it's business. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be personal. But yeah, man, I want to hear. I don't want to see friends in boxing, man, especially if they're all around the same weight classes. I don't know, man. I don't like that. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't like that.
You know what I mean? Like they be Bud being friends with Shakur and them. That's cool because they're way too far apart. But at some point, these guys might have to lock horns, and I don't want to see that or if they do fight, they're not going to really go all out. Like I saw that with Barrera when he fought Johnny Tapia back in the day, and they were good friends. And Barrera was carrying him. Barrera could have like just ended it, and he was just carrying him. I was like, man, I get it. We're all human, but I want to see some violence, man.
Yeah, living me vida loca. You remember Juan Lascano, the Hispanic causing panic?
Yeah, I remember that kid.
That was a cold nickname, though, man. The Hispanic causing panic. Ty, what about you, man? What you think? You know what I mean? I apologize. I ain't gonna say I apologize, but my bad for getting all riled up, though. You know what I'm saying?
What are you saying about Keyshawn and Andy Cruz?
Yeah.
Man, like I said, I just feel Andy Cruz just needs some more fights under his belt. I mean, and eventually, let him get a couple more fights. I mean, Keyshawn don't have that many fights under his belt either, but Andy Cruz ain't hit 5 pro fights yet. So just give him just a couple more fights, and then then they could eventually make it happen. But yeah, 4 fights to me isn't enough. But as far as I was saying about being friends and all that, like we seen this with Floyd and Zab. They were cool at one point, and then they had a fight, and they dug it out. So, but. Yeah, we seen friends get in there, and have fights. But yeah, I think it's too early for Andy Cruz right now. Just 4 fights is not enough.
So see, here's the thing, though. The 4-fight thing it is what it is, man. Sometimes when you come from different countries, that like Majima fighting the number 1 pound for pound fighter with 10 fights. You know what I'm saying? You got Loma who comes in there, and he only has 1 or 2 fights, and he's fighting for the whole championship. You also have Artur Betterby. What if Tavoris Cloud said, you know what? He fought him in his 5th fight, who was a former champion. What if Tavoris Cloud said, you only got 5 fights, man. I ain't going to mess around and fight you. You need to, handle your business. No, sometimes there's certain dudes who only have a couple fights because they are already mature. And it's like, they already kind of professionals, at that stage anyway. But at the end of the day, that dude keeps trying to be David Morrell to David Benavidez. After a while, it gets to a point where, man, you keep talking all that noise, and you really think that this is sweet, then we're gonna have to find out, good brother. And if Bob want to make this fight, I'm all for it. You know what I mean? We're gonna fight over there in Havana. You know what I'm saying? If they give you a pass to come back up out that joint. You go and fight over there in your mama backyard. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's hot. Yeah. So that's
but see, you left out the part that when Tavoris Cloud fought Beterbiev, that's probably the most money he ever made in boxing.
You don't know. All that I wasn't really necessarily, taking a look at the contracts, but I remember looking at the interviews of Tavoris Cloud because he just wanted an opportunity to get back at I think he had lost to Bernard or somebody like that the fight before. But he could be. But he took that beating though, He probably still feel the effects of that. He probably still having nightmares from that now. That was when Whatchcom was in his prime. But man, fellas, that was a good episode, man. Certainly appreciate you, Shogun, for coming through. You fellas, man, let's go ahead. I'm gonna start with you, Val. Any last words that you have, you know what I'm saying, moving forward? It could be about anything that you want to share out before we close this episode.
No, man, nothing particular. Just shout out to all the guys on here who joined us, and rest in peace to the cats that passed away, man. And they always in our hearts, part of the community.
Always in our hearts, man. Life is short, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, life is very short. So candy. All right, we're gonna go ahead and hit you up, Sheldon. Talk to me, man. What's your last things that you got on your mind? Man, as we close this episode out.
Oh man, great show. Great show as always, brothers. Always good to talk boxing with brothers that's not delusional and, actually know what they're talking about. Rest in peace to the 2 brothers that we lost from the community. We're going to keep their families in our prayers. And everybody on Tuesday, man, get out to vote, man. I don't care who you vote for. Just go vote.
Yeah, same here. Same thing here, man. Rest in peace to Scotty. Rest in peace to Alonzo Big Zoe Butler. Like I said, prayers out to their families. Like I said, Scotty was a huge fan of the show, talked heavily about you guys. So like that feedback, that keeps us going, man. That's what keeps us going, doing these shows is the feedback, man. Like, getting that feedback from people that love what we do, that keeps us going. And yeah, also Val, have fun out there at the fight. Yeah, at Keyshawn's fight. I'll be at Aleem's fight this Saturday. So we both will be going to fights this weekend. I'm definitely going to catch Keyshawn's fight on TV. So I'm looking forward to it. And great show. And what's the guy's name that's in here again?
That's Shogun.
Okay. Salute to you for coming through, man.
Oh yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Y'all know you're boxing, man. It's refreshing. I get frustrated. I'm a nerd, man. I'm always looking for something to listen to, and I get frustrated. I'll listening to some shows, and I'm like, oh man, I'm hearing some crazy leftist, rightist biasness. You know what I mean? But y'all are straight shooters, man. Respect to y'all.
Man, I appreciate you, man. I just wanted my last words is, like Sheldon said, if you haven't done so already, if you haven't early voted, make sure you go out there and do your civic duty. You know what I mean? We got to plan forward to make America great again. So, we'll see how that goes Tuesday night. As far as politics are concerned, one of my favorite politicians is that lady that you see in this left-hand corner, Tulsi Gabbard, man. I'm very impressed every time I see her, every time I hear her. She's like one of those people who just exudes, leadership and confidence and competence. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to shout out her because I was listening to her on Joe Rogan as well. And everything that she said just made sense to me. And I like people like that, especially when you have people who might potentially be leaders of our government. Secondly, that rally that took place last week in Houston, I just got a question, man. What the hell does Kelly Rowland have on right there, man? Like that's a crazy looking outfit. But that's a rhetorical question. You don't have to answer that. And last but not least, fellas, if you haven't, this CD or album came out in 2020. It was Freddie Gibbs, him and Alchemist. Man, I listened to that the other day. I cannot stop listening to it. Alfredo, that is a masterpiece. You got Freddie Gibbs putting on a show each and every song. You got Conway the Machine on there. You got Tyler the Creator on there. He got Rick Ross on there. The collaboration's just A1. That's one of the top albums, especially this decade. So I just want to shout Freddie out because he always gives me something to listen to. He got about 3 classics that he has. But anyway, that's my last words. And Vil, good luck, man, at that fight, man. Hopefully, your words don't catch up to you, sir.
Or your words catch up to me.
Yes, sir. All right, fellas, man. Certainly appreciate you, man. Hopefully we catch you next time. Have a great weekend, all right? Or week.
Peace.
Peace.